Polar bear versus crocodile. Who would win? Gather round, because today we have a battle of giants. We aren't just bringing you a fight between two worthy adversaries, it's a fight between the best of their respective classes. It's the largest living bear, the polar bear, versus the largest living reptile, the crocodile. It's a matchup of big on big, two animals that dominate their surroundings, and we're going to see if one dominates the other. Who would win in a fight between a polar bear and a crocodile? What's that battle even going to look like? And where in the world are we going to stage it? Polar bear. We're going to meet the polar bear first. So in order to do that, we're going to have to go to him. He is, after all, the world's largest bear. We don't really get to make him go places, not at that size. So in order to meet the polar bear, we're going to travel all the way to the Arctic and the surrounding areas. They can be found in Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Russia, and Norway. You can find them right in the Arctic Ocean and also on many tundras and islands. The polar bear is closely related to the brown bear. In fact, they're so closely related that the two can actually interbreed. But when you're talking about a pure polar bear, the largest bear on Earth, that is a massive being. In fact, that also makes them the world's largest land carnivore. The polar bear really breaks a lot of records. Polar bears are sexually dimorphic, meaning one gender tends to be far larger than the other. In fact, of all mammals, the polar bears have a much higher difference in their sexual dimorphism than most. In this case, the males are much bigger. They will often be between 8 and 10 feet long and weigh over 1,700 pounds. The largest recorded polar bear actually weighed in at 2,200 pounds. They stand about 5 feet tall at the shoulder. Like we told you, polar bears are huge. For one, they need to be big, especially when it comes to storing fat, in order to survive the harsh and frigid temperatures that their habitats have. Another reason the polar bear has to be so big is because it is a hypercarnivore. More than 70% of its diet consists of meat, so it needs to be able to track down prey and kill them. The polar bear needs to be large, strong, fast. Essentially, they need to be an efficient hunting machine. They need to be able to catch their favorite prey: ringed seals, bearded seals, and harp seals. Sometimes they will go for walruses if they need to, focusing on the younger ones that aren't as big and haven't developed their tusks nearly as much. Polar bears will also go after reindeer beluga whales and narwhals. A polar bear is not only an apex predator of the Arctic, it is an impressive hunter. Hunting in the cold, on land, and in the water, this bear is versatile. The fact that they can transition from land to water with ease and still manage to take animals down is a major feat all on its own. The polar bear can run 25 miles per hour, and on ice too, so that's impressive. It can hit speeds of up to 6 miles per hour when swimming in the water, and though that isn't lightning fast, they have the ability to go extremely long distances in the water. Polar bears can swim for hours, days if they need to. Their paws are specially adapted to allow them to swim with great ease for long distances. Polar bears have thick, sharp, curved claws which help them to grip onto their prey and pull it out of hiding spots. Their claws are 3.75 inches long, smaller than their brown bear cousins, but we're not about to say a 3.75-inch claw is small. And those teeth are sharp too, needing to be able to bite through the thick blubber of their prey. 42 sharp teeth to be counted in their mouths. That's a horror show if you're a seal. And the bite force of a polar bear measures in at 1,200 pounds per square inch, making it the strongest bite force of any bear. Biggest bear, strongest bite force of any bear. These polar bears really have a lot to brag about in the Arctic Circle. But will their adversary have a lot to brag about too? Crocodile. We will meet our other apex predator, but we'll have to go to a totally different region of the world. In fact, it's basically the opposite region. Crocodiles live near the equator, and yes, they stretch north and south of it, but not so far. Crocodiles live in Africa, Southeast Asia, India, Australia, and they're found throughout the Americas, especially in Central America. You see, crocodiles are reptiles, so they are cold-blooded. This means they are heavily dependent on the temperature and on direct sources of heat and cold to warm and cool their bodies. They love being in the water so they can cool off when they need to, but they love that sun in order to warm their bodies up. We're going to look specifically at the saltwater crocodile, the largest of all the crocs and the largest reptile. Saltwater crocodiles are interesting when it comes to how they grow. The longer they get, the more they weigh, but their weight increases cubically. For instance, if you have a 17-foot crocodile, it will probably weigh around 1,000 pounds. But if you have a crocodile that is 23 foot long, which is about as long as they get, they'll weigh about 2,200 pounds. The crocodile is 6 feet longer, but it weighs more than twice the amount. And that's a good way to describe these reptiles: bulky, wide, low to the ground, and dangerous. If the size measurements didn't already clue you into their danger, then consider this. They can swim up to 18 miles per hour, so if you're in the water with a croc and it finds you to look delicious, you're already done. No human can get away from that speed. Maybe they look funny when they move on land, but they're still quick. They get to where they want to go, and if their prey is close enough, those jaws snap shut in a hurry. The saltwater crocodile has a bite force of around 3,700 pounds per square inch, and its mouth is filled with 66 sharp teeth, so when that jaw clamps down with the power of a small car, whatever is inside that mouth is done. And if the unlucky recipient of a crocodile jaw clamp is still fighting to get away, the crocodile may engage in a death roll, looking to twist its way into killing its prey. Crocodiles will go after whatever they can get their jaws on. They're quite opportunistic, whether it's birds or fish or gazelles or baby hippos or any other unlucky animals. The crocodile is excellent at sneaking up on its prey, gliding through the water undetected, getting within the perfect range, and then snapping into action. Once the crocodile has got a hold of its target, there really isn't much the target can do. So that doesn't sound like a pleasant time. But will our polar bear have anything to say about that? Fight time. We have two unique fighters in this scenario. The two fighters feel like they couldn't be any different, but then again, they have so many similarities too. You wouldn't look at a polar bear and a saltwater crocodile and think that they share many things in common, but the more you think about it, they're quite alike. Both of these animals are apex predators, and they are top of their class. The polar bear is the largest bear in the world, and the saltwater crocodile is the largest reptile in the world. They're both found in extreme temperatures, even though those extreme temperatures are the exact opposite. And both of them move so easily between land and water, and excel in both. However, you have a mammal and a reptile. They're vastly different. Warm-blooded versus cold-blooded. One's low to the ground, and one carries itself high off the ground, or the ice. So if these two were to fight, the environment would matter. Think about if we were to put a crocodile in the Arctic. It wouldn't last more than a few days. The polar bear would only have to wait it out, and even if they battled right away, the crocodile's body temperature would be dropping dramatically, and it wouldn't have the energy. The polar bear wins automatically. Now, if we were on the equator, where the crocodiles thrive, the polar bear might be taken off guard. The temperature change wouldn't affect the polar bear as much as it would affect the crocodile to go up north, but it would play a big factor. The polar bear is expecting to have to carry a lot of fat to keep warm, and suddenly he's in an environment that's very warm. The crocodile would get an advantage there, though not as distinct. Now, if the two met on land, the polar bear is more agile and able to move around easier. That 25 mile per hour top speed is no joke, and looking at the body type of a polar bear compared to a crocodile, he'd be able to leap onto the croc and destroy him. But in the water, we will note that the polar bear is an excellent swimmer, but not nearly as good as the crocodile. That's the croc's true home field advantage. The polar bear would not want to tangle with the croc in the water. Now he is the less agile of the two animals. He's lost his advantage, and he has yet another disadvantage. The croc is bigger and heavier. The polar bear, if in the water, would transform from the world's largest bear to a sitting duck. The crocodile would tear him apart. So it's clear the setting matters. What if we have an environment not too cold, not too warm, plenty of land and water available? What would happen? It's a close match to call, and if the match were run 100 different times, you'd get a lot of different outcomes. Anytime the polar bear went in the water, the crocodile would attack and get the better of him. That is, if the polar bear jumped in right away. If the polar bear were able to lure the crocodile out of the water, he'd be able to get his advantage back. Of course, getting to the croc on land would be ideal for the bear. He'd have to stay away from the mouth, because that bite is no joke. One snap of those jaws, and even our mighty polar bear would be in critical danger. Using the speed and agility the polar possesses, he could get behind the crocodile and then use his power to attack from behind, jump on top, use his own strong bites to inflict damage. But even if the polar bear were to just lure the croc out onto the land, wear on him, tire him out, even if the croc jumped back in the water, the polar bear may be able to attack, once again, from behind. You see, the temperature changes will affect the crocodile far more, and that's a game the polar bear wants to play. If the two fight on land, the polar bear needs to be smart, and he should have a good shot of winning. If the two are fighting for a long time, the long game works in favor of the polar bear. The polar bear is well suited for long-distance running, long-distance swimming, enduring trials and tribulations that go all day long. But if the polar bear is so unwise to immediately jump into the water with the croc, game over. If the polar bear is so unwise to run up on the crocodile and engage in battle face to face, game over for the bear again. The two have never met before, so we'd hope they'd feel each other out, try to determine their opponent's strengths and weaknesses. If they did that, the longer things went on, the better things are looking for our polar bear. But you never know. The two may jump right into battle, both eager to declare themselves the true apex predator, and that looks good for our Salty. We tend to lean in favor of the polar bear, just barely, but it's as close a match as you can imagine. It's the bear going for the long game, hoping to wear out his opponent, and it's the crocodile looking more like a heavyweight boxer, looking for that one-punch knockout, or in his case, the one chomp knockout.